CEO is slated to be one of the last major events considered for the Melee Summer rank, so it's going to be critical for players to have a good final impression with their performance. So to get you excited for this critical event, we're going to talk about some of the players and storylines you should be looking out for this weekend in Florida. Let's start as we always do at the highest level of play with Hungrybox, who is in real danger of dropping from the #1 spot for the first time this year if he doesn't win on his home turf. Although Hungrybox has taken home the gold at 7 large events so far this year, he has fallen short at 3 of 2018's largest events: Genesis, Summit, and Smash and Splash. He's also coming in the CEO, having placed second at 2 major events in a row, which is the first time since July of 2017, with his third at EVO and his second at DreamHack Atlanta. But although his recent history looks grim, he's got one of the best projected brackets he could hope for at CEO. First up, Hungrybox is projected to play Shroomed and S2J, who he is 12-0 and 10-0 against all time according to TafoStats, which brings him all the way to winner's semis. This is probably the scariest portion of the bracket for Hungrybox, as he's projected to face the winner of Mewtwo vs Wizrobe. But before we take a look at Hungrybox's recent history with these two players, let's back up and take a look at Mewtwo and Wizrobe's road to top 24 to make sure they'll get there. Mewtwo only real challenge on his way there is Hugs, who's failed to take a single game off him in their last 5 meetings, so I think Mewtwo is the clear favorite and should make it the top 24. Wizzy's path isn't as certain, as he's projected to face off with None, who he has only met twice so far this year, both at Full Bloom 4, where Wizzy lost their first meeting but won their rematch in losers. So he's probably still the favorite in this matchup. So then who is going to be facing Hungrybox? In their last 5 sets, Mewtwo has the slight edge over Wizrobe with a 3-2 record, but not only did Wizrobe win their last meeting at MomoCon in late May, but he cleanly 3-0'd him, so really it could easily go either way. HBox is for sure going to be pulling for Mewtwo the win, who he's beaten in 4 of the last 5 meetings, instead of Wizrobe, who just recently double eliminated him at Optic Arena. In either permutation, Hungrybox is still the favorite to make it past them, to be sitting in winners finals to face off with Plup or Leffen. Leffen would be Hungrybox's ideal opponent, as he's won 7 straight sets against him, but he's just as likely to face off with Plup, who has taken 4 sets off him this year, but hasn't been able to close off a tournament against him since Genesis 5. So we'll most likely be seeing Hungrybox add another first place notch to his belt and secure the #1 for summer, but Wizrobe, Plup, Mewtwo and Leffen all have the potential to pull out upsets. And with the top 6 being so nebulous, Hungrybox not winning this event could throw the entire ranking into disarray. Now let's move on from the very top of the table down to a couple players hovering in or around the top 30, starting off with Shroomed. Shroom's 13th rank from 2017 is in peril coming into the summer rank because of his relative inactivity that has led to a lack of solid top 50 wins under his belt. Shroomed only has 5 unique top 50 wins: Lod, KJH, Chudat, Dizkid, and Kage so far this year. His first shot at beefing up his resume at CEO is against Absent Page, which has an interesting dichotomy with it. Absent Page represents the new guard of Melee players that the last couple of years have ushered in. Players who attend as many events as they can, while endlessly grinding away at tech skill and net play with any free time they have. On the other side, Shroom represents the old guard of Melee that doesn't practice or attend events nearly as often, and instead relies more on their natural skill, years of experience, and intelligence to win games. Despite there being a fairly likely chance we see Shroom 3-0ing Absent Page, this is still one of the matches I am looking out for the most this weekend. Under the assumption that he wins, Shroomed would be up against Hungrybox, who he's 0-12 against since 2010. In losers, another talented Fox, IBDW, will have a shot at knocking Shroomed out of the event before he's projected to have a challenging face-off with either S2J, Cyrox, or Crush. Shroomed has a challenging path at CEO, so keep your eyes out for him to give panelists a reason to keep him in the top 20. Coming in the complete opposite direction, we have Army, who is coming off an insane first placing at Esports Arizona, where he beat Absent Page, Mike Hayes, La Luna, and Axe, leapfrogging him past Bananas again this year in their competition on which Icy's main can put up the most impressive results. Army is looking to keep taking names this weekend at CEO, and he's got a real great path to do it if he can win his first match of Phase 2 pools against None. To my knowledge, None and Army haven't ever played in tournament, but None did play Bananas at Optic Arena a couple weeks ago and was 3-0'd by his Icies, so I don't think it'd be far-fetched to say that Army has a real shot at taking this match. He's then got another Falcon in his path in the form of Wizrobe, which is still in the realm of possibility, but Wizzy's more methodical style of Falcon play will probably see Army dropping this match. Down in losers, he slated the face-off with KJH, who he eliminated at Pat's House 3 during the only time they met in 2017. Upsetting him would lead us to get to see a matchup I'm really hoping we get to see against Hugs. These two met 17 times at Locals in 2017, 3 and 14 in Hugs' favor, but their paths never crossed at a major event. In 2018, they've met up at Locals on numerous occasions already, with their most recent meetup being the Tuesday night before CEO at TMT 59, where Army actually took first place by double eliminating Hugs. But no matter what Army's path actually ends up looking like at CEO, don't be surprised to see his name on a Reddit upset thread this weekend. Ginger has vowed at breaking the sponsorship curse that has plagued him since he was signed to Bounce in early May. At the beginning of the year, many thought that Ginger was on the cusp of breaking his way into the top 30 with a handful of solid wins, the most notable of which was his win over Axe at Full Bloom 4. But he hasn't been able to match those heights lately, with him recently taking losses to players like Zamu, IBGW, Trillium, and Dreffen, which aren't necessarily terrible losses, but they are not players you should be expecting a top 30 player to lose to. However, attempting to reverse the curse here at CEO is going to be exceptionally difficult with who Ginger is expected to meet. Right at the beginning of round 2 pools, he's going to be facing off with Swedish Delight, who is easily the favorite, but Ginger was able to take him to Game 5 at Combo Breaker, so it's winnable, but not likely. In losers, he's then got Gravy and Shiz, which both are matches that he should win, but with his recent losses, I'm not as confident as I wish I could be. And most likely lastly for Ginger, we have Hugs, who swept him 0-3 at Full Bloom when they last met. So even though he's got a tough road in front of him at CEO, keep an eye out for Ginger to see if he's able to bounce back from his recent decay away from the top 30. And the last player you should be looking out for at CEO is Swedish Delight, who's had a very inconsistent 2018 that had him taking wins over Axe, Duck, and Crush, while also losing to Rishi, Abate, and Jerry. Swedish is going to be looking to put together a solid showing in Florida to reassure fans that he belongs in the top 20. This starts with his previously mentioned match against Ginger, which will lead him to facing off with SFAT, who is 0-4 against in 2017, so we'll most likely have to see him beef up his resume on loser's side. But waiting for him on loser's side is not only another Fox, but Kolbal, who Swedish is 3-4 against over the last 2 years, so this match is a toss-up. If he's able to even up the head-to-head, he'll have either La Luna, Army, or None to face off with next. This year he's 0-1 against La Luna, 1-0 against None, and 1-0 against Army, so he's got good odds to make it a step further to play S2J. They were 1-1 in their head-to-head in 2017, actually meeting last year at CEO where Swedish won, and both of these players are badly looking to bolster their resumes, so this will be a hell of a set if we see it happen. Whoever wins is slated for a date with Mutaking or Wizrobe that will most certainly end their run. And that about wraps up the players and storylines you should be looking out for this weekend. According to the schedule, doubles pools are set to start at noon on Friday, with doubles finishing up that night. All of singles will be played on Saturday, with pools set to start at 10 a.m., top 24 expected to start around 2 p.m., and top 8 around 5 p.m. For more information or links to where CEO will be streamed, click the link at the top of the description. And that's about it for this video. Before I end off this video, I want to announce that Melee Stats now has a public Discord server where you can come and talk about Melee with what ESPN's Alex Lee once called a collective of Melee's best minds. So if that sounds interesting to you, click the link down in the description. Also, I was inspired by Merxus, who put together a prediction bracket for Smash and Splash 4 over on Challenge, so I set one up for this weekend at CEO if you're interested in throwing a bracket together. It's more just kind of a fun little thing to do, but I'll probably end up giving a shout out to the winner in the next Storylines video. And I think that about does it. I've been Saves Untitled, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.